For people who doesn't know about just Campbell work and the hero's journey, what is the hero's journey and how you can ground yourself and make it practical for nowadays living, for the modern mystics?
Huge. Huge. I love that because mysticism is practical. It's a big theme I want to actually transmit with this podcast, because this is a game changer. The hero's journey, it's funny because we've been programmed with it our whole lives, because every good film, book, movie, video game, anything that you watch as a child, especially Disney, it's all architected with this. And the writers in Hollywood, the writers of these novels understand this, consciously or unconsciously. It's a master map of the collective unconscious and the individuation process of an ego within that. It's a master map. And what does that mean? That means historically, in every human life that's ever lived, in all human civilizations, and all the texts and all the journeys and all the spiritualities, religions, wars, romances, the rise and fall of empires, there is a pattern. There is a meta pattern of how that process works. It's cyclical, it happens in a circle, and it involves 3 major acts, and then you can break each act into at least 4 parts, which gives you a 12-part, like a clock. And those acts are the call to adventure, the confrontation with the shadow or the dragon, and the return home. And it's very simple, and you can think about Harry Potter, Luke Skywalker, you can think about Atticus Finch, anything, anyone, Bilbo Baggins. That might be the most easy one to see. Bilbo and Frodo from Lord of the Rings are definitely doing this, and Tolkien had a deep understanding of this that actually Joseph Campbell uses Tolkien's work to develop the idea in his works. But yeah, there's a part of our life where things are going normally. You're in your village, you understand how things work. Maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you have a job, you have good relationships with reality. And then something happens, something feels off. Maybe it's your ennui and boredom. Maybe there's a death. Maybe someone comes with news and you can feel the energy and excitement of that. There's a call to adventure. The hero usually refuses the call at least once. So it's like, no, this is not for me, blah, blah, blah. And you can see this in your life now to make it practical. This is a new job. This is a relationship. This is you traveling the world. This is you writing that book, doing the thing, starting the project, launching XYZ. You usually refuse the call. Something will push you off the edge. So bankruptcy, breakup, disease, you'll get fucked up. Something will happen crossing the threshold.
Shake your world.
Yeah, something will pop you. If you're meant to go, you will go. Now, when you get to the threshold, there's a threshold guardian. So there are people from your life and your tribe. There is a supernatural force, usually a monster, some kind of guardian, that is going to test you before you cross the threshold. Once you get across the threshold, you start to realize you are on an adventure and you are in the unknown. Now, you feel alone at first. Next thing that usually happens, the mentor appears. A mentor will come, someone ahead of you in the journey who's been out there, and you will meet with them. Now, once you meet the mentor, you may start encountering the road of trials. There's trials, there's tribulations. What happens? You face darkness. But in that darkness, you find allies and you find magical objects. So this is the sword in the journey, the magic wand, the pendant of protection. This is how it works in novels, but you can think about this in your life. These are programs, coaches, retreats. These are locations. These are friends, lovers. This is a mentor, an elder. You find all these allies, and as you approach the road of trials, and we're getting about to the 6 o'clock point on the clock, now you have to confront the full darkness or the shadow which has been living in the unconscious. This is what's guarding the treasure. This is the dragon, the demon. This is also called the atonement with the Father, because this is where Luke fights Darth Vader. And the Father can be seen as the shadowy parts of the archetype of the Creator, because you're the Creator. But we call it the Father because this is what created you, and to unlock that force, you have to confront it directly. Once you do so, there's a death. That's symbolic. It can be ego death. It can be an actual death. It can be a losing of something you thought was yours, whether that's an ability, a job, whatever. Then you rebirth. You gain the elixir, you gain the gold, you gain the magic weapon, and you start to return from the underworld to reality, and you cross the threshold again, because some people, when they reach that state, right, their first ayahuasca experience, they're from the ashram, I just traveled to Bali. You can get high and actually get trapped and seduced in that world. So there's another threshold crossing where you have to understand what the power's for. And there's a new guardian. The mentor withdraws and you make the return home to bring the elixir back to your culture, back to the starting point, to revivify everyone around you with your new knowledge. The invitation for you all right now listening is, where are you in that process? Because step one is you need to understand where you are on the map. Then you can start to practically map out what happens next. So you got to map where you are on that cycle. And that gives you immense power to navigate further. This is what I use with clients, and I use it in my own life when I remember to. I forget all the time. It's like, man, why am I stuck right now? What the heck is going on? It's like, duh, dude, you just slayed a dragon. You just went through a whole process. You're still crusading. You need to be grounding and returning home. Like really collect your energy and start making the path home. You don't need to keep conquesting. Or it's like, man, I feel all this energy momentum, but I'm not really sure, like, what's going on here? Why do I feel anxious? You just got a call to adventure. You need to take a leap. Something's calling you and you already know what it is, but in your head you think like, oh, I already have it. It's like, no, a new cycle has started, So it's mapping yourself on this in your life, and this works for love and romance and sexuality. This works for business, entrepreneurship, art, creativity. This also works for your body.
Health, travel.
Yeah, travel, everything you can imagine.
I think that explanation was on point. So it was really, really easy to understand and great to understand. So thanks for sharing that. The most important thing is like ground this into practicalities, and having that map and understanding that map, that you can use just the information. I don't think you really need to like read the whole scriptures of it, but using this information to see, okay, in which part of the journey I am. And it's important to understand that Joseph Campbell was just not creating something from nothing. He was understanding all these archetypes and the work with Carl Jung of the collective unconscious and the archetype, things that are embedded in human consciousness. I mean, this is deep psychology. This is pure science. So it's important to understand that, guys, that this is not woo-woo. This is just like a serious, real deal, legit science that you can apply, and it's insane to think that the knowledge is there. The master map is there. You can read about it, you can Google about it, you can try to understand it, to apply this to your life. And these are the tools, my friend, that we need to learn how to use.